Scrappers, it's Tom from the iScrap app, and wherever you're watching us this week, we welcome you to our weekly report, where you can learn about scrap metal prices, news, ask us questions about materials, or ask our advice on the markets. If you're looking to ask those questions, ask us whether it's live or after, and we'll always get you those answers. Come on in, let's go talk scrap.
Hey Scrappers, Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. We hope everyone is doing well. Of course, there are lots of things to talk about, and if you have any questions for us, please ask those questions. We'll get to them this week or next week. We always go through our comments, whether they're on YouTube or any other social sites. This way we know what you want to hear, and we're able to react exactly that way. So what did we tell you 2 weeks ago? Sell your copper when the prices are near record highs. Well, I'm not trying to toot any type of horns here, but we have seen a market for copper drop off by 50 to 60 cents per pound in the last week and a half. Now, instead of talking about the prices and how they went down, let's talk about why they went up so quickly and also why they're going down. Now, of course, we have this tension between the Ukraine and Russia, and I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here to talk about scrap. But that tension is what made all of the prices go crazy 2.5 weeks ago when we saw the commodities across the map really going nuts. It was the first full week of the invasion, and that's when we saw a lot of instability in the markets. We saw copper prices jumping 20 cents a pound. We saw palladium, platinum, rhodium, gold, all these different commodities jumping up in value. We saw wheat prices going crazy, oil markets going nuts. Overall, the commodities as a whole really had a major impact. Why this happened? Well, anytime you have instability in the world, whether it was because of COVID or because of invasions, you're going to have uncertainty, instability, and that's going to lead to different run-ups and then sell-offs. And this is exactly what we saw happen here. If you remember back in March of 2020, we remember the stock market had a drastic decline. A month and a half later, a drastic uptick. Here we had the reversal. We saw instability and tensions that could have affected a lot of commodities, make the commodity prices increase, and then we saw the markets decrease when we started to see that things were going to take a long time, that the world was not going to run out of oil because the Russian spigot was going to be turned off, and other things that were going to be affected are still going to be affected, but not nearly as harsh as it was, because at the beginning of escalations, the beginning of tensions, you have uncertainty, and this is what happened with the markets. Now, with those oil prices running up, one of the big things that we've seen the oil prices do is directly affect those steel markets. Now, Russia doesn't produce a massive amount of steel, so their impact on the scrap and the new steel cold rolled market is not going to be as drastic as you would think, but the oil prices are going to be drastic, as we have seen prices for steel increasing another $30 per ton. Light iron national averages over $200. We've even seen some heavy steel pricing nearing the $400 per ton range. Now, how long these prices are going to last for, we don't know. They're generally a little more stable than things like copper and aluminum, which are traded relatively quickly and in larger quantities. I'm not talking about weight. Obviously, steel is going to be more quantities, meaning contracts. So when we look at these markets and we try to predict out for the rest of the month, we still suggest selling most materials. There's very few items that we're suggesting that you hold, other than something like an insulated copper wire that you may be able to strip when you have a little more time, and you may be able to sell for stripped prices. So when we're looking at the markets, copper prices, sure, it's down 50 cents from those crazy markets 2 weeks ago, but that just means that it's exactly where it was before the invasion began, which is a good sign. Now, if things get more aggressive, we could definitely see further changes coming in the markets, but the aluminum market has continued to hit record highs. But one metal that I'd like to talk about is the nickel markets. Now, the nickel markets are traded through the London Metal Exchange, and last week you may have seen people posting online nickel prices and nickel trading contracts were halted. We saw the nickel prices increase by 40% in a matter of 2 hours. Major companies got hurt, losing billions of dollars. And generally, when major companies lose billions of dollars and they have a little influence, things happen, and that's what happened here. We saw the nickel contracts halted, and they're not going to be picked up until today. We were supposed to start resuming trading this morning. And we saw a couple of trades, but we're still seeing uncertainty. The nickel markets, of course, are going to affect things like stainless steel, but they're also really heavy because of the electric vehicles and the battery prices, with so many of these hybrid and electric vehicles using nickel as part of their batteries. So the Russians do produce a lot of nickel. That was one of the reasons we saw the run up, but we're seeing stainless prices, 304 stainless prices in the 70 to 75 cent range, 316, 90 cents to $1.05 we've seen those prices reported. Now, if you have prices that you want to report, of course, free to do through the iScrap app. You download it. By downloading it and reporting your prices, you help not only contribute to the national price averages, you let other people in your areas know where the markets are. And we've talked about this before, having the iScrap app open to be able to go and check out prices, learn about different market needs. It's just going to give you a much more clear way to be able to learn about the markets. And when you look at our national price averages, things that we have, which we'll show you in a second, it just gives you the ability to learn more about where the different market prices are. So I just want to show you real quick. We want to shut this light off. I just want to show you real quick. Here's the iScrap app. When you pull the iScrap app up and you see all these different things and you click on view prices, you can see this great price list. You can see all these prices. Green means that the markets are up day over day. Red means that the markets are down day over day. So if you have something like Bear Bright Copper Wire and you click on it, you're able to see what the graph is like. You can see where the markets have been over the last few days. You can also scroll and just see, here's some prices have been reported in the last few days. Yesterday, $4 a pound, $4.10, $2.80. These different prices that have all been reported are going to give you the ability just to learn about markets and learn about where different people are getting paid. And it's just going to give you a much better ability, especially when you're scrolling at all these different prices. 304 stainless, 75 cents a pound, $1 a pound. These are all of the ways that you're able to learn about the markets. And by learning about the markets, you're able to know if it's a good time for you to do exactly what it says, hold or sell. Our recommendations aren't what you do. Now, let's talk about some of the catalytic converter prices. The catalytic converter markets have gone a little crazy, and when we get back from this short commercial break, we'll tell you about why the catalytic converter markets have gone crazy and where they are compared to 2 weeks ago.
When taking pictures of your catalytic converters, there are multiple things that you want to do. Make sure while handling the catalytic converters that you're wearing gloves. But when you're taking pictures of the catalytic converters, make sure that you have a clear background underneath the cats. By taking pictures from the top down, you'll be able to send those and then flip the cat over and send both sets of pictures to the team at rrcats.com. If there are serial numbers on the catalytic converters, please take pictures of those serial numbers for quicker and more accurate quoting. If the serial number has rust on it, use a little steel wool, rub the rust off, and then take a picture of the serial number. There could be serial numbers on the shields, stamped on the cats, so make sure you send any and all pictures of those serial numbers so we can get you quoted as quickly as possible.
Now, these catalytic converter markets have gone a little crazy, with Russia producing nearly 40% of the world's palladium. That's one reason that we saw all three PGM group metals going up. Platinum went up, Palladium went up and rhodium went up. We saw palladium prices rise from $2,200 to $2,700 per ounce. We saw platinum prices going from $980 to over $1,100. We saw rhodium climb from $17,000 to $21,000 per ounce. Now, while the Russians don't produce all three of these metals, with 40% of those palladium production coming from Russia, you're going to see an overall impact in the catalytic converter prices, which is exactly what happened. We saw a really big run up, which aligned with things like gold and copper going up a few weeks ago. But since then, we started to see the pullback happening because the invasion was taking longer. Supply chains started to get reworked. People start to figure out where they can get these materials instead of just relying on Russia. Questions started to have answers applied to them, and that's what led us to some of the market prices that we see now. Now on rrcats.com, you have average market prices, and by getting free shipping this entire month on any of your catalytic converters that have value, the team at rrcats.com will be able to give you fair quotes, hold those quotes for a period of time, and give you free shipping labels so you can send those in and get paid. But you can always check us through iScrap app, through rrcats.com, to learn about the markets, to see where they are up or down. Steel prices really, really strong. Copper prices, anyone that's going to complain about a market dropping 50 cents after it went up 50 cents shouldn't really be in the conversation, because the markets are where they were 3 weeks ago, and that's a good sign. Aluminum's up, stainless markets are up. Overall, the scrap markets are in a really strong place. We don't really recommend holding much unless it's insulated wire that you're looking to strip, because the markets still are in such a strong place. Scrappers, if there's topics, videos, blogs, things that you want us to talk about, let the team here know. It is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022, and until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for checking out our scrap videos. By becoming a Patreon supporter today, you'll be entered into monthly giveaways for tools and other products to help you make more money with your scrap.